Okay, we can start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Upesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prisabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashatarishtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Okay, today we're going to read about this gentleman. What is his name? How it said, Prabhu? I don't know.
I don't know either. Johann Gottlieb Fichte.
Oh, yes, Prabhu.
I think it's something like this.
Yes, Prabhu, these are annoying names.
Oh yes, you know. We can say Mayavadi. Perhaps it's better.
Okay, I call him Jacob.
Yes, it's good. Good name.
Let's see if Google tells us.
Krista.
It's even more hard, you know.
How is this possible? Oh, Hare Krishna. Ustada Prabhu, Jai Shri Prabhu.
Fichte.
Rajal Prabhu, how is this pronounced?
So Pranjal Prabhu, he talk German because this is a German. You wish Prabhu, perhaps he knows.
Oh, yes, Prabhu. Yes, Luis Prabhu would know.
Yeah.
I'll tag him.
But I think, yes, it's like Fichte.
Yes, Prabhu. Let's use that one.
We can say fish, perhaps.
Okay, let's call him Fish.
It's all right. It's all right. This is not like your offense.
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhu. Okay. So Fish is not as important as Kant or Hegel, but he is in the same tradition. He followed pretty much in the footsteps of Kant. In his first work entitled Our Belief in a Divine Government of the Universe, he writes, Our belief in a moral world order must be based on the concept of supersensible world. That is, Without the conception of transcendental reality, morality in the world has no basis. Srila Prabhupada. First of all, he must define morality. He cannot do this simply by saying, all moral principles are. It is not sufficient to imagine moral principles. Everyone is always saying, this is moral and this is moral. This is moral and this is immoral. There must be some standard. Following the Vedic scriptures, we say, Krishi Gorakshya Vanyam. Bhagavad Gita 1844. Cows should be protected. Others claim that cows should be killed in a religious place, in a mosque, synagogue, or whatever. So, who is to say what is moral? Hargreave does. Following Kant, Fichte would emphasize inner reality, intuition, or conscience. Conscience. What is this? Yes. Srila Prabhupada. Fichte may follow Kant and I may follow Krishna. But if there is a contradiction, who is to decide which is moral? Who is to be our leader? How can we decide? In any case, we cannot avoid following some leader, be this leader Lenin, Krishna, Kant, or whoever. I agree with that. Fichte would emphasize the use of individual intuition or conscience. Okay, I want to see how this is pronounced.
Conscience.
Oh, it's with
Conscience.
conscience. Not with A, it's with O.
Conscience.
Conscience. A personal moral sense of right and wrong is conscience. Our conscience is determined according to our association. There is no standard conscience. The conscience of a drunkard says that drinking is good, and the conscience of a devotee says that chanting is good. So which are we to follow? We may follow one definition of God, and others may follow another definition. There must be some standard. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam navai vidurrishayo napi deva na siddha mukhya ashura manusyaha kuto nu vidyadara charanadaya. Real religious principles are enacted by the Supreme Person of Godhead. Although fully situated in the mode of goodness, even the great rishis who occupy the topmost planets cannot ascertain the real religious principles, nor can the demigods or the leaders of Siddhaloka, to say nothing of the asuras, ordinary human beings, vidyadharas and charanas. Bhagavatam 6.3.19. The definition of God and the orders of God are standard. We cannot manufacture God or morality. For Fichte, the world has no objective reality outside of its being an instrument for the enactment of duty. He sees the world of the senses as the stuff of duty. He writes, our world is the centralized material of our duty. It is our duty that is revealed in the world of the senses. So what does this person mean? Imagine if he was your guru and he came up with this thing, and you would have to understand.
Yes, Prabhu. Very complex.
Yes, Prabhu. Stuff of duty. Srila
See,
Prabhupada.
that is what people justify as well, Prabhu. When you ask them what is their definition of right and wrong thing, they just say like I'm trying to do work and feed for my family, and then
Yes,
I
Prabhu.
want to consider my work as God. God is worship.
Ah.
Worship is office work.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay. Srila Prabhupada. If there is no definition of duty, everyone can manufacture his own. Our standard is given by Lord Krishna. Sarva dharman parijagya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshaishyami ma suchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just render unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Bhagavad Gita 1866. So whatever duties have been manufactured should be given up. It is not necessary to go on speculating, because the instructions are very clear. For our standard, we refer to the Vedas. Shabda Pramanam. If our actions are approved by the Vedic injunctions, they will meet the standard and be perfect. Shama Sundar Das. Fichte believes that the world is a rational unified system directed toward a purpose. It is not a mere machine. Rational unified system. Srila Prabhupada, yes, we agree to that. The material world is created for the pastimes of the conditioned soul, just as the spiritual world is manifest for the pastimes of Krishna. Those who are eternally liberated and enjoy Krishna are called Nitya Mukta, and the Nitya Baddha is a soul conditioned by material nature. These souls or jivas are given a chance to play as they like, and they have come here to satisfy their material senses. Ultimately, they should come to their real senses and understand that it is not their business to enjoy material sense objects here, but to return home back to Godhead. This is a good plan, and one who takes advantage of it does not deviate. If one follows the Vedic instructions concerning eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, he can become eligible to return to Godhead very quickly. However, those who manufacture their own way and go against the plan become implicated in karma bandhana. The word bandhana means to be implicated. Shama Sundar Das. Fichte claims that because the world is a rational system, reason has a very important place. Reason is a real entity or power which performs purposeful acts. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, that is so. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pointed out that the living entity is the eternal servant of Krishna. If he utilizes his reason, he can understand very well that what he is doing here. He can understand that he is receiving everything through his senses, and by acting in this way and that, he becomes a servant of his senses. People cannot master their senses, yet they are prepared to try to master the world or society. The living entity is not the master, yet he artificially attempts to be master. We attain knowledge when we realize that we are not masters but the eternal servants of Krishna. People are trying to serve their senses, their family, their country, society, dog, or whatever. This service is misplaced. By the use of reason, we can come to the understanding that we are eternal servants of Krishna. When we abandon the service of the senses of Maya and take to Krishna's service, we attain liberation, mukti. I agree with that. Fichte believes that the true atheism consists in refusing to obey the voice of one's conscience until one thinks that one can foresee the success of one's actions, and thus elevating one's own judgment above that of God and in making oneself into God. He who wills to do evil in order to produce good is a goddess person. If you do not know God or his orders, how can you verify your duty? Do you simply manufacture your duty? Anyone can do that. First of all, you must understand what is meant by duty. Duty means following the orders given by your superior. But if you have no superior, if you have no conception of supreme and his order, how can you know your duty? Of course, you may imagine your duty. Is this what he advises? Agrib does. He is vague on this point, Srila Prabhupada, because he does not know. According to the Vedas, we have definite prescribed duties. Society is divided into 8 divisions comprising the Varnashrama Dharma. There are 4 Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and 4 ashrams, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. Whatever you do, you must function according to one of these Varnas or ashramas, and there are duties prescribed for each. If you follow the principles that are set forth specifically for each stage of life, you are doing your duty. Agreed. For Fichte, our knowledge of God arises from the enactment of our duty. Srila Prabhupada, that is all right, but what is our duty? God must assign our duty for us to understand God by enacting our duty. But if we have no conception of God, how can we know what our duty is?
Shyamasundar Das. For Fichte, self-consciousness is the basic principle of human knowledge and our means for searching out the absolute. Srila Prabhupada, that self-consciousness should be, I am the eternal servant of Krishna. This can be realized by practice, by education, and by study of the Vedas. Shyamasundar. Fichte believes that the philosopher's search for the truth begins with the demand for fulfillment, that is, think thyself. Srila Prabhupada. We should think, what am I? By profound meditation, we can understand, I am not this body, but something else. I am eternal. I existed in the past, I exist now, and I will continue to exist in the future. Whatever I am doing now in the material world is separate and temporary. But what is my eternal duty? If we understand our position and learn from a spiritual master that we are the eternal servants of Krishna, we will take to Krishna's service. That is, if we are sensible. In this way, we can attain a higher position. Agriv does. Fichte was ambiguous and vague when he wrote of God as a personal being. He seemed to lean toward pantheism or impersonalism. If he's Srila Prabhupada, if he is an impersonalist, he has no understanding of his master, God, who is giving him his duty. Hagrid does. He looked on the attribution of personality to God as simply a multiplication of oneself in one's own thoughts. Okay, Hare Krishna. Anyone can continue from this part.
Srila Prabhupada, if our understanding of God is only impersonal, where is God's leadership? Is there any question of leadership in impersonalism? Well, he feels that if you attribute personality to God, you are projecting yourself into God. That is, you are manufacturing God. We cannot manufacture God by giving him imaginary attributes. Whatever attributes we ascribe to him must be logical. For instance, we say, God is great because we have some conception of greatness and we understand that greatness must be in God. Or we say that God is supremely wealthy, and that also is quite reasonable. We say that God is supreme, and that also logically follows. The attributes of God given by Parashara Muni, knowledge, fame, wealth, strength, beauty, and renunciation, all combine to give a reasonable definition. Dasa. Like many other impersonalists, Fish believes that if you attribute personality to God, you necessarily limit him. He's thinking that God's personality is finite like this, and that is his mistake. Krishna's personality is not like that of an ordinary man. As soon as it was necessary to protect the inhabitants of Vrindavana from the torrents of Indra, Krishna immediately lifted Govardhana hill to serve as an umbrella. When he did this, he appeared as a 7-year-old boy. He did not have to meditate for years in order to become God. Presently, rascals are meditating to try to become God. But what kind of God? God is always God. He is a transcendental personality and there is no need for him to meditate. Fish rejects the personality of God because he felt that the concept of God as a separate substance is impossible and contradictory. Since God is everything, there is no question of separation. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina mastani sarva bhutani na chaham teshva avastitah. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. If everything is in God, how can he be separate? Yes. He rejects God as a separate person. If God is everything, why is he not a separate person also? There is no question of rejection. If he admits that God is everything, how can he reject God's personality? I agree with us. Since Fish's pantheism would not admit that God is more than the creation, he would reject the transcendental personality. Srila Prabhupada. Then he is trying to create God. Then he's trying to create God after his own conceptions. But if he admits that God is everything, how can he reject that God's transcendental personality? If God is everything, he is that which is transcendental as well as that is not, as well as what is not. Those who follow the Vedas do not reject any part of God. They see God in everything. Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam. Isha Upanishad 1. The real Vaishnava sees everything related to God. If one thinks this is matter or this is spirit, he's speculating. We have to see God in relation to everything. When we do not, everything becomes material. Fish would find it difficult to concentrate on the personality, especially when they know nothing about Krishna. Srila Prabhupada. Peace and purification. Purities are cleansed from the mirror of the mind. We can understand Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhav Vitadish Tadur Eva Nature Rupataya Aladi Goloka Eva Nivasati Akilatma Bhuto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval God, the primeval Lord, who resides in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure and who embodies the ecstatic potency, Vladini. Their companions are her confidences, who embody extensions of her bodily form and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual rasa. Brahma Samhita 5.37. God is a person living in Goloka Vrindavana, dancing with the gopis and playing with the cowherd boys. Despite this, God is everywhere. It is not that because he is dancing, he has no time to go anywhere. Although he dances in Goloka Vrindavana, he is still present everywhere. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshe, the Supreme Lord is in everyone's heart. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 61. By his inconceivable potencies, God can be in one place and everywhere else simultaneously. This is the philosophy of Achintya Veda Tattva, simultaneously, inconceivably one with the creation and different from it. I agree with that, sir. Although an impersonalist, Fish is certainly not an inactivist. In The Occasion of Man, he writes, not merely to know, but according to thy knowledge to do, is thy occasion. Not for idle contemplation of thyself, not for brooding over devout sensations, no for action or thought here. Thine action and thine action alone determines thy worth. Okay. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, and that is also the philosophy of our Krishna consciousness movement, which maintains that we are meant for rendering daily service to Krishna. We do not believe that you should simply sit down, smoke cigarettes, and speculate on God. What will be the use of such speculation? We advocate a practical life of action devoted to Krishna. So, I agree with Dasa. In this, Fish seems closer to Vaishnavism than most impersonalists who advocate inaction and meditation on the void. At the same time, how can you act without directing your action towards some person or specific goal? Srila Prabhupada. Even in India, the impersonalists have some activities. Sankaracharya gives many Vairagya instructions, which are more difficult to perform than the Vaishnava instructions. So, as far as Vaishnavism is concerned, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught through his personal example that there is no time for inactivity. We should not sit idly and gossip about God or imagine what he is like. Both personalists and impersonalists are fully engaged. The impersonalists are reading Vedanta Sutta and the personalist in rendering service unto the supreme personality of Godhead. Shyama Subradas. Fish says that in order to understand reality, reason must follow a process called the dialectical method, which involves thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. First comes the thesis, which fails to provide an adequate solution. This gives rise to an antithesis, the opposite, which is also inadequate. The dynamo is resolved by combining the two into a synthesis. Very confusing.
But see how Prabhupada makes a thesis, and he uses his system now.
It's true. The thesis is what his thesis is that I am trying to be the master of this material world. The antithesis is that my spiritual master informs me that I am the eternal servant of God. The synthesis is that I become master and servant simultaneously, because by serving Krishna, I master my senses. Wow. Haribol.
And this was a conversation. He instantly answered like this.
Wow. So clear. Shyama Sundara Dasa. According to Fish, the thesis is the ego. The antithesis is the non-ego. And the synthesis is the unification of ego and non-ego. Srila Prabhupada. The ego arises when I think I am the monarch of all I survey. The antithesis is I am not the monarch, servant of my senses. Through the synthesis, I become a servant of Krishna and simultaneously a master of the senses, a Swami or Goswami. For Fish, this dialectical process is endless. For such synthesis in turn becomes a new thesis, etc. However, the ultimate synthesis is the absolute or God. Srila Prabhupada. It is explained in the Bhagavad Gita that those who attempt to attain God in this way, through the process of mental speculation, eventually attain God, but only after many lives. However, one who is intelligent immediately surrenders when he understands God to say, just surrender unto me. This saves time. You can come to the ultimate synthesis God by immediately surrendering. If you can perfect your life immediately, why perpetuate this process? Shyama Sundara Dasa. Fish states that the original thesis or the starting point is the person and his consciousness, the ego. The antithesis is the object of consciousness, phenomena, the non-ego. The synthesis arises with the unification of the subject and subject-object. Vedas admit that there is direct knowledge, then knowledge received from authority. These combine to form transcendental spiritual knowledge. At present, our ego is false because we are thinking, I am the matter, I am this body. When we come to real knowledge, we understand that we are spirit soul. This is our true identity. The function of the individual spirit soul is to eternally serve the supreme spirit soul, Krishna. For the fish, ultimate reality is the moral ego. This is the pure will, active reason of the good. Srila Prabhupada, yes, God is also the ego. We say I am, and God also says I am. However, God's I am is superior to ours. He is the eternal, primal living force. We are also eternal living force, but we are subordinate. I agree with Asa. Fish considered faith to be the real basis of action. He felt that knowledge in itself was insufficient. Srila Prabhupada, yes, faith must be there. We see faith exhibited even amongst the lower species. We see cygnets following their mother swan into the water to swim and play. Faith is quite natural. I agree with Asa. In Krishna consciousness, does faith or knowledge serve as the basis for action? Srila Prabhupada, in the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells us to abandon everything and just surrender unto him. Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Now, this requires full faith. If we speculate about this, we do not have faith. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, the faith is described. Shraddha Sabde विश्वास कहे शुद्धता निष्ठ भक्ति कैले सर्व कर्म कृता है. By rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. This confident, firm faith, favorable to the discharge of devotional service, is called Shraddha. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 22.60. Faith means believing firmly. If you have firm faith, you will become perfect by surrendering unto Krishna. If we still have reservations, we cannot have firm faith. We may then ask how this faith comes to be, and to this Bhagavad Gita answers. Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyante Prapatyade Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes, and that is all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Bhagavad Gita chapter 7.19. This faith, therefore, is not very easily come by. Piety is also required by a candidate. Krishna appeared on the battlefield of Kurukshetra 5,000 years ago, and Bhagavad Gita has recently been studied by many people like Gandhi, Dr. Radhakrishnan, Vivekananda, and Aurobindo. But where is their faith? They have taken advantage of Bhagavad Gita by interpreting it according to their own pleasure. They have never taught complete surrender onto Krishna. This requires firm faith in Krishna. In any case, in this Krishna consciousness moment, we are teaching our students how to capture Krishna through firm faith. There are many faithless people, including yogis and swamis, who are commenting on Bhagavad Gita, but this is useless. In the beginning, there must be firm faith. Faith is the foundation. The foundation is lost. How can a big building stand? I agree with Dasa. Fish believes that faith is innate in all men. He writes, so has it been with all men who have ever seen the light of the world? Without being conscious of it, they apprehend all the reality which has an existence for them through faith alone. This faith forces itself on them simultaneously with their existence. It is born with them. How can it be otherwise? Yes, Srila Prabhupada, yes. And this faith is also strengthened by experience. For instance, in the world, we understand that everything has some properator. Since this is the case, why shouldn't the entire cosmic manifestation have a properator? We may not see the properator, but we accept his existence on faith. Agriva Concerning the infallibility of conscience, Fish writes, this voice of my conscience announces to me precisely what I ought to do, and what leaves undone in every particular situation of life. To listen to it, to obey honestly and unreservedly is my true vocation, the whole end and purpose of my existence. As soon as he says that he listens, he indicates that someone is speaking, that someone is God situated in everyone's heart and dictating. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hirdeshe Arjuna Tistati Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantra Rudani Mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as a machine made of material energy. Bhagavad Gita 18.61. Thus, God is dictating to everyone. He is telling the thief, you may go out and steal, but this is not good. If you are arrested, you will be punished. The dictation is there, and if one disobeys and goes ahead and steals, he commits sin. God is there giving dictations within the heart, and we may either obey or disobey. If we obey, we become devotees. As I said before, the dictations come from the heart, and also from the scriptures and the spiritual master. If we regularly disobey, how can we be happy? I agree with Dasa. Fish is typical of the impersonalist desire to merge what he calls the universal ego. He feels that this should be our ultimate goal. Srila Prabhupada, in this material world, we all have some ego. We think, I am the husband of this woman, I am the head of this family, I am the president of the state, and so on. These are different manifestations of ego. However, we cannot say I am the master of this entire universe and the universal ego. That is also called false ego. Very nice. I agree with us. Fish thinks that we can go through the universe embracing and assimilating approach. As soon as we speak of the absolute, there is no distinction between the impersonal and the personal. If there is a distinction, you're not referring to the absolute. It is contradictory to speak of the impersonal absolute. I agree with Asa. More precisely, fish should consider the original thesis to be one's own consciousness or ego, the antithesis to be the object of consciousness, sense phenomena, or the non-ego, and the synthesis to be the unification of these opposites. Srila Prabhupada. He is distinguishing between the ego and the non-ego and between the personal and the impersonal, but in the absolute, there are no such distinctions. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam abhayam brahmeti paramatmi bhagavan iti sabdyate. Learned transcendentalists know that who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Bhagavad Gita 1.2.1. In the absolute, there is no duality. When we search for the absolute truth, you may realize that three different aspects as Brahman, as Paramatma, and as Bhagavan. Depending on a relationship to the absolute appears in different ways. But this is not due to some inconsistency in the absolute. The absolute is always one. But due to our relative position, we see the absolute as the impersonal, all-pervading Brahman, as a localized super soul, or as a supreme personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. Ultimately, the absolute is Bhagavan, and the impersonal feature is resting on him. Brahmano hi pachistaham, katistaham. I am the basis of this impersonal Brahman. Bhagavad Gita 14.27. We may attempt to merge with the impersonal aspect Brahman, but our position will not be permanent. As for merging or unifying with the absolute supreme personality of Godhead Bhagavan, this is not possible. It is not possible for the finite living entity to become the infinite God.
Hare Krishna, Manu Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Pranam. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada. Prabhupada.
Okay, so I can just read 2 pages and can just go off from here.
Yes, Prabhu.
So I agree by Dasa. That's where I start.
No, not yet. New chapter. We start new chapter.
Ranjapuru ki jai.
Yes, this fish person was making so many speculation games. He was saying antithesis, synthesis, but nothing happened. He didn't progress anywhere. He just made this. This is his friend, I think. They have the same ideology. And they look same. Oh, he has also long hard name.
A German.
Yes, Manu Prabhu. Can you start? Can read?
Yes, bro.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Give me a moment. I have to adjust my screen.
Oh, this person also is some synthesis person.
George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. Samsunder Dasa. Hegel sought to synthesize other philosophies to arrive at the truth, and so doing, he concluded that everything that exists is reason. What is real is rational, and what is rational is real. Srila Prabhupada. This means that he wanted to arrive at the absolute, in whom there is no duality. That is Krishna. Krishna says, Paritranaya sadunam vanisaya chaduskritam dharma samstapan artaya sambhavanmi yuge yuge. In order to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion, I appear myself, millennium after millennium. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 8. He comes to earth to protect the devotees and kill demons. Although he actually did this, we should not think that he is partial. When he killed the great demon Putana, for instance, Putana attained a position like Krishna's mother, Yashoda. Because Krishna is absolute, there's no difference between his loving Yashoda and killing Putana. Whatever he does is good, be it killing or loving. The two opposites are reconciled in him. The Sanskrit word for this is vidruta dharta sambandha samasunda dasa. Hegel saw that his predecessors had become so increasingly abstract in trying to find out the nature of substance that they had reduced substance to nothingness. Srila Prabhupada. This is due to ignorance. This is called virasa. When one cannot understand the nature of God through speculation out of frustration, he says, oh, there's no God. Samsundar. Hegel predecessors analyzes an object into similar and smaller parts until they arrive at a non-entity. Srila Prabhupada. That fact is that absolute cannot be divided into parts. Bhagavad Gita is stated, Nainam chintanti sastrani, nainam tahati pavikaha, na chainam kletayantyapo, na sosyapyati marutaha. The soul can never be cut into pieces by the weapon, nor can he be burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 23. It is possible to cut a material thing into pieces, but it is impossible to divide a spiritual being. A spiritual being is inexhaustible. The Maya bodies think that since the Absolute is all-pervading, he has no form. But this is incorrect. The Absolute can maintain his form as he is, and yet expand himself. Krishna says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta marutina. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 4. Krishna has three features. Brahmeti paramameti bhagavam iti sabdyate. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 2, verse 11. The impersonal, localized, and personal. Unless we come to understand this science, it is very difficult to know the forms of the absolute truth. One who is competent, one who is incompetent, who has poor fund of knowledge, concludes the absolute truth is niraka, void. But this is not so. Shamsundar. Hegel wanted to reverse the trend from abstraction to concretion. He believed that every phenomenal or object has a relation with the whole, which is reality. To understand reality, we must examine all objects and relate them to the whole and to each other. Srila Prabhupada. That is our process. The whole is Krishna, and everything is related to Krishna. Because we're seeing everything related to Krishna, we do not artificially renounce anything, but try to utilize everything in the service of Krishna. Although Mayavadi philosophers say that everything is Brahman, their process is neti, not this, not that. In this way, the Mayavadis say that Krishna and his worship are also Maya. Our philosophy is that everything is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. The energy and the energetic are one. Narada explains. Idam ivasam viswam bhagavam ivitro yato jagastana nirtha sambhava tat swayam veda bhavam tat abhite pradesha matram bhavati padasitam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is himself this cosmos, and still he is aloof from it. From him only has the cosmic manifestation emanates, and in him it rests, and unto him it enters after annihilation. Your good self knows all about this. I have given only a synopsis, Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, Chapter 5, verse 20. The whole universe is Bhagavan, Krishna. It appears to be separate. How is it not separate? Can be understood through Krishna consciousness. Ordinary men think of Krishna and non-Krishna, but there's no non-Krishna. That is illusion. Everything is Krishna. Next. Thank you for the time.
Hey, Krishna
All
Manu
right.
Prabhu, thank you so much for reading.
Yeah, I'm good. Take rest. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Okay, I can also read.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, where are we continuing from?
Can you see this part?
Okay,
Yes, Prabhu.
for Hegel, nothing can be separated from the spiritual whole because everything is related to it. For Kant, phenomenon is the mode in which things in themselves present themselves to the individual. Srila Prabhupada, it is explained in Bhagavad Gita that Krishna has two energies, the spiritual and the material. His spiritual energy is described as superior, and and his material energy as inferior. The designations are given for our consideration because we cannot understand otherwise. But the fact is that there is only one energy, the superior spiritual energy. When the spiritual energy is covered by ignorance, it is called material energy. The sky is naturally clear, and we can normally see the sun, but when there are clouds, we cannot see it. Still, the sun is there. When we cannot see Krishna or understand him, we experience what is called the material energy. The the fact is that there is nothing material because everything is Krishna. Hegel says that objects themselves are the spirit expressing itself in objective nature, whereas Kant maintains that the spirit expresses itself through objects. There is a distinction made between the spirit within the object expressing itself and the spirit as the object. The object as it is spirit. In one sense, the sunshine is not the sun, but at the same time it is not different from the sun because it is the sun's heat and light. Therefore our philosophy is achintya bedada tadva, simultaneously one and different. All these objects are actually spirit, but if we have no sense of Krishna, we consider them to be material. Sometimes people criticize us for using material devices like dictaphones, typewriters, and airplanes. But we, yes, airplanes. But we reply that these things are spiritual. If they are used for our sense gratification, they are material, but if used in relation to Krishna, they are spiritual. It is the consciousness that is important. Rupa Goswami says, Anashaktyasa visyan yataraham upayuna gyata Nirabanda Krishna Sambade yuktam vairagyam uchyate prapanchi katya budaya hari samabidi vastuna mumkshubi paritiago vairagyam pahalagu katayate. One is said to be situated in the fully renounced order of life if he lives in accordance with Krishna consciousness. He should be without attachment for sense gratification and should accept only what is necessary for the upkeep of the body. On the other hand, one who renounces things which could be used in the service of Krishna under the pretext that such things are material does not practice complete renunciation. Bhakti Ramasamtra Samreta Sindhu. Everything has its relationship with Krishna. Rejecting everything as false is artificial renunciation. Our method is to renounce things for our sense gratification but accept everything for Krishna's satisfaction. Krishna says, Mam cha yo vayabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sayuganan samatitiatan brahma buyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstances at once transcends the mode of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Bhagavad Gita chapter 14 text 26. As soon as we engage fully in devotional service, we are immediately spiritualized. When we are in devotional service, the spiritual quality of everything is revived. In truth, everything is spirit, but it is covered by our material consciousness, just as gold may be covered by mud. If we cleanse the heart, we immediately understand that things are spiritual. In material consciousness, we conceive of ourselves as Americans, Indians, men, women, and so on. But when we come to our spiritual consciousness, we realize I am Krishna's servant. Thus, we understand that we are spiritual. Material conceptions are like dreams. When we are dreaming, we may think that we are this or that we are performing so many acts, but when we are awake, we understand our real identity because we are part and parcel of Krishna. We have no duty other than to serve Krishna. When this consciousness comes, everything is spiritual. In philosophy of religion, Hegel writes, God is a living God who is acting and working. Religion is a product of the divine spirit. It is not a discovery of man, but a work of divine operation and creation in him, God. Yes, it is very important to understand that a man cannot manufacture religion. We define religion as the orders given by God, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada hi dharmasya galanya bhavati bharata abhyutanam adidharmasya tada atmanam sarjam yaham sajayam sagyam yaham para pritarana ya sadahunyam vinasya dukshtam dharmas senstapan Damastapantaya Sambhavami Yuge. When, whenever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a prominent rise of religion, At that time, I descend myself in order to deliver the pious and the annihilate the miscreants, as well as the reestablish the principles of religion. I appear myself millennium after millennium. This is religion. Religion resets on the others of Krishna or God, and if you strictly follow Krishna's instructions, you are religious, pious, and transcendental. If you defy Krishna and manufacture your own religion, you are osiric, demonic, according to the Plato's and Chant's philosophy. These temporary objects are representations of an ideal. This table, for instance, represents or expresses the ideal table, but it is not the ideal itself. We also say that this material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. It is like a mirage. Sri Dara Swami and Sri Dara Swami said that it is due to the actuality of the spiritual world that this illusory world appears to be true, because there is in reality a real table. We can perceive this table, although the entire material creation is but a perverted reflection of the reality. People are enamored by it. People take this to be a real table, a real body, a real society, real happiness, and so on. Hegel would say that these are genuine externalization of the reality, that this is a real table and that these are real objects. It is not that they are images of the real, but that they themselves are real. What does he mean by real? For us, reality means that which does and will exist. If this is not the case, it is not real. Na sato vidyate bavo na bavo vidyate sata ubayo api dristo na ntasa twa anayos tatva darshibi. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent there is no endurance, and of the existence there is no cessation. These seers have concluded by studying the nature of body. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 16. Reality refers to that which exists eternally. This table exists temporarily, therefore it cannot be classified as reality. It is like a dream or hallucination because it is temporary. We cannot say that a dream is real, although in a dream everything appears to be real, but it isn't that a table on the spiritual platforms an absolute table. Yes, in Krishna's adobe there are tables. Chains. There are tables, chairs, and chairs. Or yes, you can continue, Prabhu. All kinds of furniture eternally existing, but these things are manifest here only temporary, which is correct. Does the spirit express itself in this object, or it is that the spirit is this object? The object is an expression of the spiritual energy. Whatever is manifest is the energy of Krishna, but one energy is eternal and another energy is temporary. That which is manifest temporarily is material, and that which is manifest eternally is spiritual. So in that sense, can you say that this table is made of spirit, but at the same time is not? Originally, it is made of spirit. It is the sense that Krishna is the whole spirit, and because it is Krishna's energy, it is factually Krishna. You may make various images out of clay. You may mold pots and bricks, and they may be manifest temporarily as pots and bricks, but originally they are clay, and when they are destroyed, they will again merge into their original conditions. There are three conditions: the formless conditions, the form, and again a merging into the formless. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna tells Lord Brahma, "Oh, aham evasam evagre. Nanyada yat sada asyat param paschad aham yat itak chayo vaishyeta so Sosim Aham. It is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after in annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Oh, is it? I don't know which one is it Bhagavad Gita 2? Or is it Srimad Bhagavatam?
Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam.
Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, chapter 9, verse 33, I think. So Krishna existed in the beginning of the creation. He maintains the creation, and when the creation is annihilated, he continues to exist. Therefore, the Mayavadis would say that this table is Maya. They say that it is Maya, but we say that it is temporary. But there is also a spiritual world full of form. Yes, but the Mayavadis do not know of this. What is the source of these forms? The Vedanta Sutra states Janmadi Asya form. Janmadi Asya forms comes from the original source. These forms that we see here are not eternal forms. They are imitations, perverted reflections of eternal forms. A reflection is not eternal. Hegel says that these forms are not eternal, but that the interactions of forms is an eternal process. A marriage is neither factual or nor eternal, but there is factual and eternal water. Otherwise, how could anyone have a conception of water? But if the universe is rational and everything has a purpose, this temporary form is also spiritual because it had some kind of purpose. Yes, we are utilizing everything for Krishna's purpose. Our proposal is to make the best use of a bad bargain. But what if a person does not know the purpose? It is the object still spiritual. Yes, whether a person knows or does not know, fact is fact. We have only to receive knowledge from one who knows. All objects are spiritual, but one who does not have knowledge does not have the eyes to see that spirituality. Then then is God's plan unfolding itself everywhere, wherever we understand it or not, whether we understand it or not. Yes, he reveals himself in Bhagavad Gita, and he sends his representative to unfold his plan. The essence of things is, yes, Prabhu. Good, you can go down.
Yes, Prabhu, there was a bee that attacked the house. I had to run.
Okay. Spirit, okay,
The
spiritual.
BS come to listen Krishna Katha.
It's flying.
Spiritual, but our imperfection vision makes things material. Hegel believes that everything has a purpose, that the whole universe is rational, and that it is unfolding under the direction of reason, the spirit of the absolute. Certainly, only rascals think that there is no purpose in life, that everything is a result of chance. For Hegel, sorry, in order to understand this reality, we must examine the interrelationships of things. We are also teaching that the origin of everything is Krishna, and Krishna energetic expansions, that the origin of everything is Krishna, and Krishna's energetic expansions constitute everything. Parasya Brahmana Saksjaya Yato Vedo Si Havyavata Devanam Sanganam Yagyanena Purusam Jagyeti or Jagyeti. Oh, fire God, you are a part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, and you carry to Him all the offerings of sacrifice. Therefore, we request you to offer to Him the sacrificial ingredients. We are offering the demigods for the Lord. Lord is the real enjoyer. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 20, verse 17. Physical existence is heat and light, and these energies emanate from Krishna, the original light. Everything material and spiritual is composed of heat and light. One who has eyes to see that which is spiritual can see. Hegel attempts to establish the relationship between concrete realities, isolated facts, or moments, as he calls them, can never constitute the truth, because the truth is the whole and integrated unity that is organic and dynamic. By just analyzing ourselves, we can understand that I, the soul, am existing, and that my bodily features are changing. When things change, we call them material. The spirit soul exists in the conditions, and that is the difference between spirit and matter. Moments, factors in the organic whole progress in an evolutionary way according to the course set by reason, which in Hegel calls the world's gist, the world spirit. That world spirit is a person. Unless you accept a personal God, there is no question of reason. The reason guiding everything in the universe is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Mayadu yaksena prakriti. This material nature is working under my directions. Bhagavad Gita chapter 9 verse 10. Direction means reason. Therefore, as soon as you speak of reason, you must accept the supreme person who is directing everything according to his supreme reason. Would would you say that all worlds, can you zoom in? Yes. Would you say that all world events are expression of this world spirit or world reason unfolding itself? If so, what is the ultimate purpose of that plan? Yes, there is a plan. Otherwise, why would Krishna say adiyakshena, superintendency? There is a plan, direction, and also reason. The living entities are part and parcel of Krishna, and somehow or other they wanted to enjoy the material world. Therefore, Krishna has given them a chance, just as a father gives a chance to his small children to play. Krishna says, Sarvasya Chaham Hidri Sanivisto Matas Smriti Gyanam Apohanam Cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 15. The whole plan is that Krishna gives the living entity freedom to play, and then again come home. He says, all right, you want to play, but when you are tired of all this nonsense, give it up and come back to me. This world is like a playground for conditioned souls, and the body is like a small field, kshetra, on which the living entity wants to play. Idam sariram kaunteya kshetram iti abidiyate etat yo vetitam prabhu kshetra jana ititada vida. Okay, this body, O son of Kunti, it is called the field, and one who knows this body, it is called the knower of the field. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verse 2, text 2. The material body is nothing but a field of action, and Krishna says, all right, utilize this field and enjoy yourselves. When you are exalted playing in this field, you can have another. In this way, the living entity is changing bodies, changing different fields of action. Is this play aimless, or is there gradual evolution? There is a goal. Krishna gives us knowledge, and the Vedas also. Uh, and the Vedas are also there. Krishna says this play is not very healthy. Therefore, I request that you give it up and come back to me. This is the plan. According to the Hegelian dialectic, being and nothing are empty abstractions. Being is the thesis, nothing is the antithesis, and the synthesis is change becoming. The question of becoming arises because we are now in this awkward marginal position. Although I am eternal, I have been trapped by something mortal. Consequently, I am changing my position, and this is called transmigration. When I cease transmigration, I attain my own true being, which is eternal. Hegel believes that when the dialectic is exhausted, it reveals the whole, unified absolute truth. But since nature is constantly unfolding, guided by the world spirit, the dialectic process continues indefinitely. In other words, you cannot find out the ultimate synthesis. Therefore, you have to receive information from shastras. That thesis is that the soul within the body is immortal, and the antithesis is that the body is mortal. The liberation of the soul from the body is the synthesis. When we understand that we are in an awkward position within the material world, we strive for liberation. Unless we understand that we are entrapped, there is no question of liberation. Hegel understood the absolute truth to be always changing and yet always permanent. The absolute does not change. Even we are permanent, being part and partial of Krishna. We are permanent even though we are moving about in these material bodies. Although Krishna manifests himself in various expansions, he remains the same. Hegel saw the absolute truth unfolding in itself in history, biology, sociology, and other sciences. Krishna is the center of everything, and everything is emanating from Krishna temporarily. Temporary manifestations comes from Krishna and then return to Krishna. History is simply repetition. For Hegel, God or the absolute truth. I'm sorry, my phone just exited. Okay, sorry. Okay, where was I? Okay, for Hegel. For Hegel, God or the absolute truth manifests in three forms. The idea is in itself, the idea for itself, and the idea in and for itself. This means that he is trying to create God for him. God is an idea. Is this his philosophy? The Madhavayas also believe that actually there is no God, that God is created by man's imagination, that he is impersonal, or that so many people are busy creating God. Vivekananda, for instance, claimed Ramakrishna to be God. In maintaining that God essence is thought, it's thought and thinking, despite whatever images God may assume. Hegel is basically an impersonalist. He writes, God is in his very essence, though thought and thinking. However, his image and configuration be determined otherwise. If God is absolute, his image is also absolute, and also God. If God is absolute, his words are also absolute and are non different from him. The image of God worshipped in the temple is God himself, because God is absolute. God says that earth, water, fire, and can go down, Prabhu. Everything. Okay. Everything else is in his energies. And even if we think that the image of God is made of stone, we must acknowledge that the stone is God's energy. Even though a copper wire may not be electricity, it carries electricity, and if you touch it, it will understand it to be non-different from electricity. We may think materially that an object is different from God, but spiritually everything is God. Achai Vishnau Siladahi Guru Naramatiri Vaishnav Gyati Buddhi. One who considers the Murti or worshipable deity of Lord Vishnu to be stone, the spiritual master to be an ordinary human being, and a Vaishnav to belong to a particular caste or creed, is possessed or hellish intelligence and is doomed. Purana. We should not look upon the deities as something material as stone. Sila, as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the Jagannatha deity, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately fainted. In order to realize God's omnipresence, we must be trained to follow God's instructions. It appears that Hegel is theorizing that God is an idea, but God is substance. And what do you mean by substance? Substance is something concrete. You may form an idea of a golden mountain, but there is a difference between that idea and the golden mountain itself. When you actually see and touch a golden mountain, it is a fact. That fact is substance. For Hegel, there is idea, substance, and the synthesis, which is spirit. According to our philosophy, spirit is realized in three phases: Brahmana, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Realizing Brahman is like realizing the sunshine, which is impersonal. Realizing Paramatma is like realizing the sun disk itself, which is localized. However, if we have the capacity to enter the sun, we will see the sun God himself, and this may be compared to Bhagavan realization, the personal features of God. Once we realize the personal features, we automatically understand the impersonal and localized features. According to Brahma Samhita, the impersonal Brahmagyoti is the bodily rays of Krishna. Similarly, Paramatma is the localized features of Krishna sitting in everyone's heart. The sun is one, not many, but it is capable of being reflected in countless water pots. One who sees the sun's reflection in the pots may think, oh, there are millions of suns. One who has seen only the sunshine thinks of the sun impersonally. But one but when one knows sun, but when one knows the sun God, he has attained personal realization. The supreme personality of Godhead is a person. Shri Krishna, when you have a clear conception of God, you understand this. You cannot make God into an idea. Ideas arise because there is substance. Can go down, Prabhu.
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhu, for reading. Ajit Kumar Prabhu was next. He was asking that you can also read.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Lebo Prabhu, for reading. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Shyama Sundara Dasa. Hey, yes, bro. Can I start, bro?
Yes, Prabhu. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Shyam Sundar Das. Hegel uses the word idea to refer the rational form which precedes material or physical form. Srila Prabhupada. This stated in Brahma Samhita that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has big form, Vigraha. But what kind of form is this? Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. Krishna is the Supreme Godhead and he has an eternal blissful spiritual body. Brahma Samhita 5.1. So means eternal. And presently we have bodies which are asat, temporary, but Krishna's body is different from ours. The word Ananda means blissful. Krishna is always blissful, and Chit means knowledge. Krishna knows everything. In this way, he is different from us. He is not an idea but substance itself. Syama Sundar Dasa. When we are discussing Plato, you agreed that the idea precedes the physical representation. Srila Prabhupada. From the Shastras we learn that there is a spiritual world, and Shastras we also and that this material world is a perverted reflection on that world. From the Shastras, we also understand that the houses in the spiritual world are made up of Chintamani. Chintamani Prakara Shadmasu. In this world, we have no experience of Chintamani, philosopher's stone. Philosopher's stone. A stone that turns other metals to gold. But we may have some idea by hearing from authorities. It is not that we manufacture or think of the spiritual world. In other words, we have ideas of substances which we may not have seen. Syam Sundar Das. For Hegel, spirit generates idea and actualizes them. Srila Prabhupada. We say that everything comes from Krishna. Why just idea and substances? Why this or that? Why so many distinctions? Everything comes from him. Unless there is substance in the spiritual world, nothing could exist. In the final analysis, we have to accept the fact that everything is emanating from the substance. Janmatyasya. All ideas can be traced back to the original substance, which is Krishna. Therefore, Krishna says everything is emanating from me. If you attain Krishna, therefore you attain the ultimate substance. If you understand God, you understand everything. That's Swami Sundardas. Then you would say that form precedes idea, not that idea precedes form. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, form precedes idea. Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridisha nivishto mattah smriti jnanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Bhagavad Gita 15:15. As far as man is concerned, he cannot invent anything. He can only discover things that are already there. Shyam Sundar Das. Hegel sees ideas and substances opposing one another as thesis and antithesis. Spirit is the synthesis containing both. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, we agree. Viruddhartha Sambandha. Contradictory things are adjusted in Krishna. Therefore, we say that Krishna is inconceivable. He is simultaneously one with and different from his creation. Since it is impossible to conceive of these things in the material world, they are called inconceivable. Syam Sundar Das. Then, if we can conceive of something, must it exist somewhere? Srila Prabhupada. Yes, it is a fact that you cannot conceive of anything that does not have existence. In this material world, we understand that 1 plus 1 equals to 2 and that 1 minus 1 equals to 0. But in the spiritual world, this law does not apply. Therefore, 1 plus 1 equals to 1 and 1 minus 1 equals to R. Shyam Sundar Das. But what of the idea that God is evil? Can I conceive of this? Srila Prabhupada. Yes, God is also evil, but not according to our understanding. God is absolute, and evil and good are reconciled in him. We cannot say that because we think of God as evil that he is evil. Rather, we say that he is all good because he is absolute. Syam Sundar Das. What of the idea that God does not exist? Srila Prabhupada. Yes, it is fact that he does not exist as far as rascals are concerned. Since a rascal cannot understand God, God does not exist for him. Syam Sundar Das. What of the idea that I am God? Srila Prabhupada. That they also a fact because you are part and parcel of God. You may say I am an Americana and President Nixon can also say I am an American. But this does not mean that you are President Nixon. It is madness to claim such a thing. I agree with that. Concerning God and man, Hegel writes, God is only God insofar as he knows himself. His self-knowledge is moreover his consciousness of himself in man, and man's knowledge of God, a knowledge that extends itself into the self-knowledge of a man in God. Srila Prabhupada. If he accepts the existence from God and man, why does not agree to receive knowledge of God from God himself? Why speculate? To possess knowledge of God, man had best take knowledge from God himself. Yet, Hegel is opposed to receive knowledge or instruction from an exterior source. Start to reason that if you want to know about me and my nature, you had best take knowledge from me personally instead of speculating. In Bhagavad Gita, God explains himself. And if we accept this knowledge, which is given by God, our knowledge of God will be perfect. Why waste time speculating? I agree with us. Perhaps without speculation, a philosopher would not be able to write so many books. Srila Prabhupada. No. When you have perfect knowledge, you can write perfectly. Without perfect knowledge, your writings will simply be nonsensical. If there is any meaning in our books, it they are because we are not speculating about God, but are understanding God from God Himself. This is Parampara system. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sakshat Dharitrena Samasta Shastre, Sri Guru Ashtaka 7. All scriptures accept the Guru, the spiritual master, or the Supreme Lord Himself, because He does not concoct anything. He is servant of God and His knowledge is given by God. If Hegel accepts the fact that he is a man and that God exists, he should logically receive knowledge about God from God himself. Shyam Sundara Dasa. From Hegel, the absolute the idea in and for itself manifests itself in the objective mind in the form of laws, morality, and social ethics, and the free will develops in these areas. Srila Prabhupada, yes, that is the field of the free will. As soon as we accept a controller, all these are manifest. Laws will come, morality will come, and social ethics will come. Since ethics do not accept the controller, they act immorally. Unless we have a platform on which to execute the free will, there is no meaning of free will. There must be some laws, some system of morality. At the same time, Krishna told Arjuna to do whatever he decides, Bhagavad Gita 18.63. That is free will. After explaining Bhagavad Gita to him, Krishna told him that the choice was his. So please scroll down. I give up. Hegel placed a great deal of emphasis on human freedom. He accused the Orientals specific. He accused Oriental, specifically Hindus, of not knowing that the spirit is free in itself or that man is free in himself because they do not know it. They are not free. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, he speaks of human freedom, but he is subjected to birth, old age, disease, and death. Where is the freedom when he dies? Where is his freedom when he dies? Hagrivadas. Hegel writes that only the Germanic nations have, in and through Christianity, achieved the consciousness that man is free, and that freedom of the spirit constitutes his very nature. Srila Prabhupada. According to the Krishna religion, a man has the this scroll down. The freedom either to go to heaven or to hell. That is, he has the freedom to make a choice. However, if he goes to hell, where is his freedom? Every citizen has the freedom either to live as a free citizen or to go to jail. But if one goes to jail, where is freedom? His freedom is dependent on someone else who gives him a chance to either remain free or go to prison. Our freedom is relative, and God is the supreme absolute controller. It is God who gives the living entity the freedom to make his choice. The living entity is never completely free as God is. Haigribadasa. Hegel criticized Hinduism as a theocracy in which man is handed laws from an exterior God. But Hegel, this is a blind following of an exterior will, a following not conformed within the individual himself. He believed that man could best attain God through the exercise his own free will. Srila Prabhupada. If this is the case, why can't animals attain God? They are also given a free will. Haigrivadasi claims that animals have no will. Prabhupada. If they have no will, why do they go different directions? I agree with us. Hegel even went further to say in the philosophy of right and law, the animals have no rights to live life because they have no will. Srila Prabhupada. First of all, you must determine what is life. Animals are eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, just as we are. A small ant has all the life symptoms that we have. Who is to say that a man has more right to live than an ant? The life symptoms are the same. Syam Sundar Das. For Hegel, the individual conscience evaluates itself and sets its own standard of morality. Srila Prabhupada. Our morality is not like that because we accept morality from a higher authority. Our morality is standardized. Krishna said, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. Bhagavad Gita 18.66. This is the morality we accept. The law of man are imperfect, but gods are perfect. Why should we accept the imperfect advice of other men? Sham Sundar Das. Hegel sees the subjective mind dealing with inner experiences, the objective mind with the exterior, and the absolute mind dealing with both and uniting them. Srila Prabhupada. That is correct. Anyone can understand that. This is the case with the absolute. Sam Sundar Das. This absolute expresses itself in three forms: art, religion, and philosophy. In art, the absolute assumes the form we can beauty. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, we define God as all beautiful. Shyam Sundar Das. Hegel considers religion to be like an art form, whereas philosophy conceives or thinks of the absolute. Religion represents or pictures it. Srila Prabhupada. Without a philosophical basis, religion is simply sentiment. Samsung Das. He maintains that art is an expression of spirit. Srila Prabhupada. Well, everything is an expression of spirit. How is that a definition of art? Shyam Sundar Das. What about tree? Can we say that a tree is the artful display of the absolute? Srila Prabhupada. Yes. A tree is also a form of art. Krishna is the supreme artist also. Shyam Sundar Das. The absolute mind expresses itself through religion, which represents the absolute truth as representations in our consciousness. Srila Prabhupada. Religion means accepting God. If he thinks that religion is mere representation in our consciousness, he has no clear idea of religion. Abiding by the laws of God is religion. Shyam Sundar Das. For Hegel, the highest form in which the absolute manifests itself is philosophy, which is the synthesis of art and religion. Srila Prabhupada. Philosophy also means obeying the orders of the God. Anything else is dry speculation. God said, "Thou shalt not kill." If we are religious, we stop killing. However, if we understand why should not kill, we are philosophic. There are many people who accept Krishna as God, but an advanced devotee understands Krishna and therefore he is very dear to Krishna. But highest of all is love of Krishna. The gopis were not philosophers, but they loved Krishna without ulterior consideration. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself expressed his love of Krishna. Shyam Sundar Das. Once you said that even higher than philosophy is the practice of philosophy. Yes. Srila Prabhupada, yes. The gopis were practicing the philosophy because they were loving Krishna. Moreover, they were enjoying the results of philosophy. I agree with that. Since the body, the soul's instrument, Hegel considered injury to the body to be injury to the person himself. In the philosophy of right and law, he says it is but when sophistry that says that the real person, the soul, cannot be injured by maltreatment uh, of yet of ferret to one's body. Violence done to the body is really done to me. Srila Prabhupada. Then, what is the justification for killing animals? High Grivadasha. He would say that a person can possess his body because he can put his will into it. Animal, however, have no right to life because they do not put their will into the possession of their body. Srila Prabhupada. If that is the case, why do animals object when you kill them? What kind of philosophy he expounding? I agree with that. He said that mankind had the right of absolute proprietorship. He writes, a thing belongs to the accidental first comer who gets it. Because the second comer cannot take possession of what is already the property of another. Srila Prabhupada. In other words, might makes right. But consider how would you take ownership of gold? First of all, you must hunt a gold that has no proprietor. You must inquire who the actual proprietor of the gold is. You may claim first proprietorship, but the gold was there in the first place. Whose property is it? Who made the gold and kept it before you came along? Hi, Grivadasa. Hegel. Hegel would say that the first comer is not legal owner by virtue of his being the first comer, but because he has free will. That is, it is mine because I put my will into it. Srila Prabhupada. That's all right. But someone made the gold and kept it before you went to capture it. Since this was the case, by willing it to be yours or by taking it, you became a common thief, not a philosopher. Our claim to proprietorship is false because we are neither the creators nor maintainers of property. Syam Sundar Dasa. As far as action is concerned, activities activity in accordance with conscience is proper activity for Hegel. Srila Prabhupada. The thief becomes accustomed to stealing and therefore his conscience says, yes, I must steal, it is my right. The conscience of a murderer tells him to murder. Originally the Bible said, thou shalt not kill. But people have created a conscience by which they can think, yes, killing is alright. Conscience is created by association. If our association is good, we create a good conscience, and if it is bad, we create a bad conscience. There is no absolute standard for the conscience. Conscience means discriminating power. Sham Sundar Dasa. He maintains that there is an absolute conscience which is pure rationality. Srila Prabhupada. Pure rationality is Krishna consciousness. Unless we come to that fact from so-called conscience and philosophy have no value. Shyam Sundar Das. Hegel believes that punishment for a crime is justified because it vindicates justice and restores rights. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, therefore, when one kills an animal, he should be prepared to be killed. That is justice. According to Manu Samhita, it is justice to hang a murderer. It is unjustice to save him because if he is not hanged in this life, he escapes justice and has to suffer severely in the next. In order to be saved from many troubles in the next life, the murderer should be killed. The king who is hanging him is doing him justice in rendering a life for a life. But according to Vedic philosophy, if one kills an animal, he should also be prepared to be killed. A sane man would not run such a risk. Syam Sundar Das.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for reading. We are running out of time, so now we need to go to the six Astakam prayers. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Jai Shri Ram.
चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावादूजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्
नामकारी बहुधा निज सर्वशक्ति तत्रार्पित नियमितः स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवम् ईदृशमिहा जनिनानुरागः तृणादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीयः सदा हरिः
न संजरं कवितं वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनीश्वरे भगवत्भक्तिरहितविद्वै
अयि नंदन तनुजा किंकरम पतितानां मां विशामे भवम बुधाव कृपया तवा पद पंकज स्थित धूलि सदर्शनम विचिन्तयेत
नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदरुद्धयारगिरा पुलकनिचितं भपु कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्राविर्ष्यायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे
अश्लीषं
Yes, Prabhu.
Nani Prabhu, you can continue.
अश्लीयाशा विवाह पदम रतम पीनस्तु माम अदर्शनम ममला मर्म हतं करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधतु लम्पटो मत् प्राणनथस्तु स एव न परा.
Haribo, glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. Kirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
Oh
Oh
my
my
Lord,
Lord.
your whole. Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
You continue, Prabhu.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast tools for chanting this name. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all senses of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
Oh my
Oh
Lord,
my,
when
yeah, please continue, bro. Please continue.
Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
Oh Govinda, feeling your patience, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or make me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord and unconditional.
Tribal Sri Siksastakam Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Jai.
10 offenses to the
No, to
first offense. To consider the
Blaspheme the devotee who are dedicated their life propagating the holy name of the Lord.
yes,
blaspheme the devotees.
blaspheme the devotees that dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. The second one to consider the name, name
Lord Shiva.
names of
Lord,
gods.
Demigods.
Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma should be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu.
Yes,
Ribol.
To disobey the order of the spiritual master.
Tribal.
For
Same
to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures, versions, the Vedic version.
Ribol. Fifth one, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be my imagination.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Oh. But sixth one
Sixth offense, to give mundane interpretation to the holy name of the Lord.
is to give interpretation to the holy name. Seventh one is to commit offense, commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name.
Eighth
Eight,
offense,
to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna to be one of the ritualistic activities which are often in the Vedas as spiritual activity Kama Kanda.
9, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
Nibo.
And to not have complete faith to the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachment even after understanding so many instructions of this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. Vancha Kalpatarubhyacha Kripasindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam
Sarvasya
Bhavati
Kripasindu
Vaishnavyo Namo
Vachavatitano
Namaha.
Namaha. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank
you
you
so
very
much,
much, Prabhu,
Prabhu.
for your
Hare Krishna.
association.
Gaura Premanande.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you so
Nitai Gaura
much, Prabhu.
Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari